and I can kind of pick away at it with my fingernail. So I'm trying to get this to look like this. Just about made it without having a big fat run in our perfect environment for painting. So today's episode is how to paint like a pro in less than desirable circumstances. Now, I was thinking maybe we could do it out here. It's pretty dusty, and maybe the bugs are going to get on it tonight. So here we are, trying to do something again that's super relatable. Teresa went and bought this 94 Corvette on a whim, and it had typical Arizona flaky paint. So the Clearcoat had completely flaked off. You could see it here, some of it. And of course she knows her husband can fix that, but the joke's on her because I'm going to prep it and then she's going to be the painter. So less desirable conditions means we don't have a paint booth like we do at home. I went and bought a paint gun at a yard sale because for one job I didn't think it was worth buying a very expensive paint gun. And we have this lovely, almost a compressor. So what I'm trying to say is, what we're about to do, you can do at home, and hopefully I can help you with some tips that actually are relatable, something you can take back with you. You're gonna wanna stick around to see how this works out, because it has a 63% chance of success. All right, so first things first, I did spend last night with a cold beer and sort of did most of this. I left a little bit for you guys to see. What we're trying to do is get kind of a soft pattern between this paint that did stick and didn't bubble from the UV rays and the stuff that just flaked off and of course came off with a pressure washer or an air gun. I like to use a decent quality paper. Here we got some Pro Sand Premier. So aluminum oxide, made in Canada. So I'm starting with 400 just to try to get these lines sort of feathered in real nice. And what I'll do is I'll do just a little bit of sanding and I'll leave the non-sanded stuff and then show you the stuff that's been sanded so you've got a pretty good idea. This is a very, very common problem. I was going to say that like it happens when you use a lower quality Clearcoat, which is also true, but even the manufacturers had a big run in the 90s, whether it was Dodge or GM, with Clearcoat peeling, especially in very sunny climates, such as Arizona. So I'm not working this hard at all. In fact, I'm trying not to break through the green because that's super important to leave it good. Pro tip number one coming up. I definitely like to mask right up against the surface that I'm working, so I don't scratch the surface, because that one's super nice. It doesn't need any work, and I don't need any extra work myself. That's your first pro tip. Now if you're ultra cheap, maybe you can leave that tape there for the whole job, but I don't recommend it. Okay, so that's how quick it was to just kind of cut that down to 400. I'll bring you guys with me right now onto the job, and we'll go right to here. So let's have a little look at what that looks like down here. So you can see here, everything's kind of blended nice. And you can actually use your finger and just feel for the ridge. Here, I can feel the ridge very clearly, and I can kind of pick away at it with my fingernail. So I'm trying to get this to look like this so that we're got a really nice application of paint. Sometimes you gotta do it in stages. Sometimes you just gotta spend one evening doing the gross sanding, clean it all up. Next evening you can do some masking and some preparing. And then on the final you can get yourself all worked up and decide you're ready to do some painting. And you can see that I'm not over sanding. I am using a block just to make sure I feather it well. I'll bring you guys in right here. So here's how I know I'm not done. There's a little bit of open there. You can see the open sores. I'm going to get those to look a little bit more soft, like this transition here. And there you go. That's almost the end of what I'm going to do with 400. Here's your next pro tip. I got some edges to do, where some of this is just peeled off on just the edges, the leading edges. So I'm going to take and get rid of the block and carefully do those by hand. Again, I don't want to over sand this and end up in the primer below. I'm just trying to make it look good again without a bunch of extra work. The guy always worries that the paint match is going to be 100%, especially on a car that might have been repainted or is now faded from being in the Arizona sun. So the less I affect the color underneath, the better off I am. Pro tip number 2, are you ready? I did mention we want to use some decent sandpaper. So again, whatever, this is Pro Sand Premier. Aluminum oxide. Now there's a couple different ways to fold your sandpaper. I kind of like to fold it into quarters. The reason I like that is it gives me a couple extra edges when I'm done. You can also fold it into thirds. I don't think that's critical, but we're switching to 1000 grit sandpaper. Just going to make sure there's no weird dust here that's going to cause any extra deep scratches. Wipe that panel off, and we're going to switch to a wet sandpaper. A couple reasons for this. I do like that it doesn't leave a heavy film. I'm not going to lie to you guys. 800 grit sandpaper. It's going to work out just fine. I could tell by sanding that it wasn't 1000 grit. Now I didn't mask this bottom, but I'm just going to be real careful with it down here. Do my edges first. Taught you guys this before, but I kind of hold the paper like this between my fingers, and I use my palm as a long sort of sanding board. All we're trying to do is get the gloss off this clear, and it'll be ready to take the next batch of clear. Now what we're doing here is we're not affecting the color. So because we're just going to apply clear here, this color will match, and up here on the door it's going to match, down to the quarter it's going to match. Just up here it may have a chance of not matching. So we're trying to minimize the obviousness of it. And if you've ever looked at brand new cars from the manufacturers these days, man, their bumpers are off on color. Everything's silver. Well, silver is the worst for that. So I'm going to run this 800 right into where we did that transition. Soften those lines a little bit. I use just a few drops of soap in this. Just helps the paper glide across. Pick your favorite dish soap. That'll be just fine. Just means you got to rinse it off when you're done. And I'm thinking I'm done. It doesn't take long. I know it always seems tedious, but there we go. Now, did I mention what Teresa doesn't know is that she's going to be the one painting? It was her idea to buy this car, so I'm going to make her earn it. The other thing that'll do is, while she's learning to paint, you guys can learn to paint too. I think this is what we're fighting. See those little white spots? That's clear starting to sort of react and start to bleed up. So, all right. Now I'm going to clean this up. Notice how I wiped off all the edges so the masking tape would stick well. I'm going to clean this up, perimeter mask it, get it masked up, and get back to the painting process. Now I've basically done the perimeter masking. I'm going to use one of my favorite little tools. I'm away from home, but I feel like I'm at home with this. It's just a little handy little masker. You don't have to have the whole rigmarole. It just works. So if you're not doing a lot of painting, this is so perfect for that. Watch, you just do this. And now that the perimeter masking is done, just hang it over. The nice thing is any dust that was on that used plastic no longer applies. This is proper masking paper. That. I will tape it all back, but for now. I don't know what to do with this goofy thing. It's goofy.
What is it?
I think it's an antenna for an old style telephone in the car.
An antenna for stereo that doesn't work?
I think for more like a phone. An 80s phone.
Oh, a shoe phone.
Shoe phone. Okay, so same thing. This will give me a really nice perimeter so the paint doesn't get affected by my poor choice of masking materials. The whole concept here is that we're away from home and I do not have this shop set up like I want it. And maybe that never is going to matter. Maybe this will just be fun to play with stuff on a slightly less intense level. Kind of reminds me of when I was in my 20s and my teens. But you can still get a pretty nice job done if you put in a little bit of effort. So yeah, our buddies at FBS handle all of this stuff. I'll shout out to them. That's going to make the job that much nicer. It comes preloaded, which is super, super nice, especially when you're working not in a space that allows you to take a piece of tape and run it across some newspaper. This is way better.
I don't know if everybody else is in awe, but I know how much work it is to mask stuff, and you do it literally like it's so easy.
I have to make a living at it, so.
Yeah.
And good tools. I really like this little hand masker. They also make it like an 18-inch, which is what I should have bought today, but I wasn't paying enough attention. This is from Dan Fontaine, remember?
Yes.
He's the guy that has a super cool car at SEMA.
Yes.
Helped us with our helmet paint courses, which I think are super. We might actually have a couple more of those. In case any of our fans are interested in something like that. We'll probably put that together. No, I cannot wrap Christmas presents. I'm horrible at it. The skill apparently does not transfer over.
Oh, I could see how you would wrap a Christmas present.
Oh yeah. In a big hurry. I think I have 20 minutes left to put it in the paint booth. that nice? Mm-hmm. It's just so easy to work with this thing. Now, not so sure we're going to get as good a paint job as my buddy Chad. Seems to think he can get stuff really flat, and we're going to do a little bit the opposite of that. I don't want a lot of air pressure in here.
You don't want the high pressure, high fast blast?
Well, I really think it's about a little bit of gun setup and a little bit of preparation.
Right.
So, the other thing I dislike about the high pressure is in an environment like this, it gets everywhere. And if we're trying to teach you guys how to do some of this kind of at home, it's way better to just a little less air pressure.
Slow it down.
Truth is, everything looks like glass on camera anyways.
Truth is, it's true.
This might just look marvelous.
It's gonna look marvelous.
It's hot here though.
Marvelous.
Very hot.
Means it'll dry well.
Okay. I don't know if I have enough tips there for the painting portion or the masking portion, but short of that cute little masker, I don't think I have a lot to tell you guys. I could probably do a whole thing on this.
Wait, what? Am I masking this?
You masking
Or
this?
am I spraying this?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that, didn't I?
Oh.
In your little suit.
Oh, I gotta go get my sperm suit.
Well, we're not there yet. I think this might require some old man glasses.
Oh, I got old man glasses.
I think there's some right by the toolbox there.
Yeah, I'll get you some. Well, those are 350s. I think those are pretty good.
I almost got it done.
Pardon?
Almost not done.
Oh, those are really strong. I don't know, you try them, but I think they're gonna go, whoa.
Ooh. Adjustment here. What's your dad joke today? What did the orange say to the apple?
Aren't you glad I'm not an apple?
I
don't get it.
What'd the apple say to the orange? Sorry, dude, I don't speak Mandarin.
That's the funniest damn thing I've ever heard!
Oh, that was really bad.
Not bad.
No, that was really bad.
Is it going to make the final cut?
I'll see. We'll see if it makes the final cut.
That was racist. Just like... Okay, I think we're actually ready. So, let's get back to it, kids.
Okay.
So we've sanded, we've masked, and unless you've been on a rock somewhere, you've probably done just a little bit of this in your life. Held a spray can, used a piece of sandpaper. The part that's important is to make sure that that surface is now clean and that the area is as dust-free as you can make it. And I'm not saying perfect, obviously, but dust-free and clean. So first thing I'm gonna do is go back to my rag that's got a little bit of moisture on it. I'm gonna clean once. Then I'm gonna get a clean rag with some water in a can, clean it again. So this time, I'm going to spray everything down just lightly. And what I'm looking for is some transfer onto this rag. So I'm going to get some transfer of green from the base coat, where I've sanded here, and some transfer of white. See how very little I've got there? A little bit of green? It means the surface is quite clean.
You did that so fast, my camera didn't pick it up.
Okay, let's try it again. See how there's very little green here? Right? That means the surface is actually quite clean. Because I've been cleaning these as I go along. Okay. So I feel one of the most important things that I didn't want to cheap out on, because let's face it, we're doing this kind of on the cheap. So I wanted to get a reasonably good product that was still affordable. I would like to try to only do this job once. My question is, what do you got for product? And there, Calvin, you don't have a thing on, so. So I chose to get this Lumabase because we've used it before, and usually the color match is pretty good, and the Clearcoat's actually quite good, but it's not terribly expensive. We need a little reducer. How about medium? Yep, medium. So this stuff gets reduced 1 to 1. I don't need a lot of it. Quick need you question. Where there's breakthroughs through the base, do you hit it with some kind? Okay, so 1 to 1. There we go. There really isn't going to take much to cover this stuff because the thing's mostly green anyways. Remember, this is not pro tips for pro painting. This is pro tips for
Amateur painting?
well, painting in your backyard for fun.
Okay.
Should be fun.
This is pro tips for painting your 1994.
Yeah, like
Corvette.
stay within the context. It's like,
Stay in your lane.
yeah, it's just an old, fairly nice car, but it's not a car that deserved to go to a fancy body shop. And maybe if somebody else bought it, they would do exactly the same. They would just do it right here in their garage. So that's one of my tricks is paint's going to be expensive anyways, or feel like it's expensive. Don't get the bottom of the barrel stuff. Let's go do a little test before I put Teresa in charge here. Now, one of the tricks about this is I don't have a air pressure regulator for this because it's 10 o'clock at night and I totally forgot to get one earlier today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to control the air here by ear. I don't want a ton of overspray. These settings on the sides of the guns, I usually go to wide open, so that would be counterclockwise. You can see it gets bigger here. All the way open, and then maybe back a quarter or half a turn usually. You can see that's going to work out probably just fine. Now Calvin was asking, what about these transitions between the clear and the base? And because this is a super budget job, I'm hoping it won't bite us in the butt. And I didn't want to buy a full gallon of sealer, so I am not using sealer. I would recommend to use sealer, but again, we're just doing this to fool around, so no sealer. Because I'm not using sealer, I'm going to do a super, super light coat at first. Actually, we'll get Teresa to go get suited up. So now that Teresa's back from her wardrobe change, okay, I'll set the gun up just a little bit. There's a stopper right here in your paint gun, and that controls the travel of the fluid needle. So I've got it set up very small. So I'm going to actually I'm going to open it up just a bit more. So, oh, that's too much. What I'm trying to do is set it up so Teresa can't really foul this up. There, okay. So your best bet is to come across the car like this. About this far away. Remember, it's kind of distance away. Yep. So do you want me to do one start and then you can do the rest? Okay, so Teresa was just asking if she could paint the rest of the quarter panel, and I forgot to tell her that we're trying to maintain the color. You guys saw that earlier in the video. If we don't paint this surface, it will match the side of the car, it'll match the bottom of the quarter panels. So just in case the color isn't quite right, we're just trying to do the area that's done there. So back to what I'm trying to teach you guys and what we're trying to work on, and this isn't a foolproof method, by the way. Because we're not using sealer, we're gonna try a bunch of dry coats of base coat. What we're looking for here is on the transitions. On the transitions, we would see wrinkling right now. If there's some sort of chemical problem, there isn't, so we're gonna do the exact same thing over again. Just a bit here, but I want you to do a light coat. Just pull it hard enough to spray paint. Slow down just a bit. Just trying to transfer color onto the car. So it saves our lungs, it saves all the motorcycles that aren't getting any overspray on them. We're going to let this dry for another 5 minutes and get back to you. We might end up putting 5-6 coats because I didn't use sealer. I'm already regretting that, so pro tip of the day, probably still use some sealer. Drying well. So you guys, we didn't talk about it, but we bought medium reducer. So why did we buy medium reducer? Because it's right in the middle. It's that simple. We didn't know if it was going to be hot tonight or cool off, and I only wanted to buy one product. I didn't want the whole assortment that we normally have at the shop. So again, if you're working at the house, it might be important for you to learn that. Buy the medium reducer. Unless it's blisteringly hot, then buy the slow. If you're working in the Arctic, buy the fast reducer. So it turns out, my bad for not getting sealer. The old Clearcoat that was on there is not covering super good. But we're saving the day. What we've done is put a bunch of dry coats on. So we're at probably coat number 6. Very light dry coats. What happens with that is so this is your Clearcoat, this is your base coat, and this is all the area that we sanded back. Well, if you put heavy coats on, the wet paint could sometimes get underneath that clear, create a little chemical reaction and do a little wrinkling. So the dry coats just kind of seal that up. Again, my bad for not getting sealer, but my good for getting a reasonably good paint, because that way we were able to do this trick. It's a trick that gets you out of the woods, but it's not. You can see the color is right. The color's transferred. We haven't got it shiny and clear coated yet, even though it might look shiny in the camera. This will dull off, and that's what we're waiting for now. So we're going to wait a little while longer here, probably in the 20-minute mark, because I put it on kind of heavy just to get some good coverage. And then we'll put 2 more coats on and be ready for clear coat. The only thing I'm going to touch up here, really, she's done a nice job. There's a little bit of striping because she's struggling with getting her full 50% overlap. The other reason she's struggling with the striping is because we've turned, like we said, the pressure down enough on the gun so that this whole place doesn't turn green. So,
I see this little spot.
yeah, it's going to be fine.
Is that okay?
It's going to be fine.
Thank you.
So,
I feel better.
So I'm going to take over, and I'm just going to make sure that it's as nice as I think I can make it. So my overlap is probably in the 60 to 70% range. I'm going over it a whole bunch, and if you look across it, you'll see that it's really, really nice. So a lot more overlap. A little bit higher speed. I'm a little closer because I'm trying to make sure we use up all the paint. So I may not have talked about this in depth, but for those of you that might have missed the point, this is a base coat, clear coat paint job. It was the clear that was flaking, peeling, because it got kind of UV'd right out. So now what we've done is we've established color with the base coat. We probably did 9 to 10 coats, and this product would cover really well in 2 coats. So cheap JF for what I saved on not getting a sealer. I had to make up on risking the whole job and using up all of the paint that we bought and do 9, almost 10 coats. So, pro tip, don't do as I do as I say. Get some sealer next time. What I would have done with the sealer is probably just gone to this line, kind of backmasked it, and just gone to this line, sealed that whole top section. It would have taken 2 coats to cover, 2 more coats to establish, you know, the metallics, and it would have been further ahead. So we've been at this a few hours. But it looks great.
I think it looks amazing.
It's gonna work. The trick here is going to be to teach Teresa on the sides how not to have the paint fall right off the car. I may, right in the middle of that, do what I normally do, get excited and rip the gun right out of her hands, but so be it. We got away with that because we didn't buy cheap product. We bought something that was good. We're going to use the same Lumabase Clear. It reduces at 4 to 1. So I just got to check in this little cup. 4 to 1. I'll just do it right off the numbers. Gosh, am I blind? That would be 8 to 10. Same thing again, we used a medium reducer. The reducer is quite a bit more critical in the clear coat, and that's because that's what's going to give you your gloss. So what we're going to do is we're going to finger touch like after the first coat, and we're going to learn whether this stuff is drying quickly in this weather, because we don't have a weather station, we don't have a booth, we don't have all the things we need. So we'll show you guys how to deal with that. Don't leave us just yet. You're going to see it'll be worth it. The other thing I don't have is a station for cleaning my gun. We ran it right dry, so I'm pretty comfortable. What happens I mean, some industry guys will tell you that doesn't. This is totally stupid to do, but I've never ever had any problems. It's going to end up tinting the first coat of clear. I'm not really worried about that.
I was going to say, isn't that a good thing?
It's
kind
green. It's going to take the clear. And if we were doing like a tri-coat, it would be totally critical. If we were doing 2 different colors on a car, we just really couldn't get away with this. But for the backyard job we're doing here, we're getting away with it. Now I'm going to set up the gun a little differently. We're going to need a little more air pressure. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Teresa to do the same kind of dry coats. And the reason I'm getting her to do dry coats is if somewhere in this sanding job, we've got some product that's going to sneak through and then lift it, make it look bad. It honestly looks super, super good, so it's not a real big concern. We also don't need 2 or 3 extra coats of clear on the side. So we're going to do 2 very light passes on top. We know that we can bury those afterwards, so that's not going to be a big problem. So we're going to do a coat, 5 minutes later. It'll give us a chance to test how quickly this is drying. And the whole job, the top section is going to get 4, the sides are just going to get a couple. So I'm just going to, yeah, there we go, we're already on clear. So it's sprayed out. So kind of the same, Teresa, you're just going to, let me test the gun here so I know that I've got something good for you. You see how already with clear it's doing a different job? You see how I'm overlapping it kind of at the 60% range? So what you want to do is kind of look, and I've said this before in our videos, you want to look down your gun. You don't want to look at where it's spraying, you want to look at where it has sprayed. Okay, yeah, that's good. We'll let you get away. So, turns out, what I was worried about Teresa doing, I did myself. Put a big run in. So right now, I'm doing a trick that I don't recommend, but it might save the day. The paint is dry enough that I'm flattening it with piece of tape here. Get rid of the run. No runs on that side?
No.
Here's my little tape trick. Definitely a pro trick, so I don't recommend it. I'm gonna put a little dry paint on it. Let it set up for a minute. Walk away, JF, walk away.
Walk away, JF, walk away.
I'm walking away.
Way back.
See, we're down to 1 coat, so this has to get fixed before we go and put that coat on. Just about made it without having a big fat run in our perfect environment for painting. A few moments later. The morning of truth. Let's see.
I'm gonna say it looks really good.
Yeah, you got good lighting on this side if you want to look. So, what have we learned from this? A little bit of experience is important. You can, for sure, fix up some minor problems like this at home. Teresa did a wicked job.
Aww.
Yeah. We're just going to unmask this and then show you guys, but I'd say I'm super happy with it. I do think it's important to buy some good materials because, as we said last night, we probably saved the job because we bought quality paint instead of just cheap stuff. So we don't have any wrinkling here, but we did have to fight it quite a bit. It was wasn't going the way I wanted. The one thing that happened is because we were fighting it here a little bit, we got this area, this transition really nice, and the coloring of this panel will for sure be correct. So let's get it unmasked and have a look.
Yay.
Good job, Teresa. You can help me.
I'm coming.
Well, there. I'm super happy because the coloring's good. I hate it when bumpers and panels don't match. And
Yeah,
it's not
that matches unbelievably well.
matches perfect because we didn't add a lot of product to that.
Yeah.
It no longer has super flaky paint. So I'd say that's a big win. And on a car that, you know, didn't deserve another $3,000 or $4,000 spent on it, this works out good and you can do it. Just pay attention to some of the tricks we tell you because they matter. Right, Teresa? What'd you think of that?
I think it looks great.
Yeah?
Yeah, it turned out really, really well.
So,
I learned.
yeah, tell us what you learned.
Practice painting is actually the biggest thing. You got to practice doing it to get it right. And then what I learned is sealer. Don't forget sealer first.
Well,
You don't need a really expensive compressor, but you do need a working compressor.
Not always.
You don't always need a super expensive paint gun. So, yeah.
How about good paint?
Good paint is the most important thing. I do have to say, though, I haven't used very many paint guns, and I'm not an expert at it, but I do know that the cheaper paint guns are really hard to hold in your hand. So if you had to do a whole job, my hand wouldn't take it.
And it's definitely not nearly as good.
No. Well, I know a lot of you guys have been asking about the DIYs and learning about products, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. And we're almost at 50,000 subscribers, so tell your friends, share our videos. And again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on our next episode.